In a week already defined by Pam Bandy incompetence, it's no shock that Pete Hegseth jumped in to compete. He reportedly exploded at an aide in a full-blown meltdown as scandal erupted in Trump's chaotic Pentagon. We're diving into what this means for Trump. Now, before we can get into what Pete Hegseth was screaming over and why he's so upset, we need to start with a bit of context of how this all began with Pete Hegseth and what he planned on sharing with Elon Musk.
Is Musk, meaning Elon Musk, set to get access to top secret U.S. plan for potential war with China. The lead is this: the Pentagon is scheduled tomorrow, Friday, to brief Elon Musk on the U.S. military's plan for any war that might break out with China. One official confirming to the Times that Musk is to be at the Pentagon on Friday, but offering no details. Mr. Musk, of course, has extensive financial interests in China, and so this, I think, is raising lots of alarm bells for a lot of different people. The Pentagon's war plans, known in military jargon as O plans or operational plans, are among the military's most closely guarded secrets. If a foreign country was to learn how the U.S. planned to fight a war against them, it could reinforce its defenses and address its weaknesses, making the plans far less likely to succeed. The top secret briefing for the China war plan has 20 to 30 slides that lay out how the U.S. would fight such a conflict. It covers various options on what Chinese targets the U.S. could hit over what time period. And these would be the options that would be presented to Mr. Trump for decisions. For some reason, they've decided to show Elon Musk this level of detail about a potential war with China while he operates the largest car factory, I believe, in China, and has immense financial interest in that country and contacts with that country's government that he has not disclosed to the U.S. as part of maintaining his security clearance.
Although it feels like years ago, it was just a few short months back when Elon Musk had near total access to government power. And it seems some of his allies still do. Certain staffers reportedly have access to classified information, which is crucial to this story. Pete Hegseth, for instance, was reportedly willing to share classified war plans with Musk. Not surprising, but it highlights how much unchecked power he held within Trump's administration, often without Trump even knowing. And recently, Hegseth acted behind Trump's back once again. This clip is right here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to express my strong support for Rep. Moulton's amendment today. The Pentagon has frozen the delivery of aid to Ukraine 3 times since President Trump's inauguration. 2 of those times, Secretary Hegseth froze the aid without even gaining the approval of President Trump. According to news reports, the first time Secretary Hegseth froze the aid was less than 2 weeks into the Trump administration. He apparently misunderstood President Trump's directions in a National Security Council meeting and believed that DoD was supposed to halt all aid delivery to Ukraine. While this decision was reversed by the White House only a few days later, Secretary Hegseth's poor decision cost millions of taxpayer dollars and delayed the delivery of vital aid. Last month, I asked Secretary Hegseth about this early freeze in aid to Ukraine when he testified before this very committee. Secretary Hegseth unsurprisingly refused to provide an actual response to my questions about why he ordered the first freeze to aid. Then just a few weeks ago, we learned again that he ordered the freeze of vital military assistance to Ukraine. Again, he apparently didn't coordinate with the White House or State Department before making his order, and once again, Secretary Hegseth's decision was overruled by President Trump. His poor judgment and mismanagement of the Pentagon has twice now led to the freeze of military assistance to Ukraine. This committee needs to make sure that these deadly pauses don't happen again. President Trump himself has apparently come around to the idea and announced that he would once again begin sending significant defense equipment to Ukraine. After serving at Sinkas-Navyr and as a Russian policy officer in the Navy, I know firsthand how dangerous a threat Vladimir Putin is to Ukraine, Europe, and the U.S. The Ukrainian soldiers fighting and dying on the front lines against Russia don't have time to wait for the delivery of artillery and munitions. They need that aid today. Thank you.
Donald Trump's administration does not really seem to take him seriously. Everybody else but Trump is in charge. The only thing Trump does is eat hamburgers, tweet, scree, and bleat. and, I guess, yell at reporters sometimes. Hegseth is going around his back on Ukraine as Elon went around his back on essentially everything. It was part of what blew up their relationship, and clearly part of what blew up the relationship with Hegseth and Elon, which could potentially be very bad for business for the worst billionaire in America. And we can see that in reporting about Hegseth screaming meltdown right here. Hegseth exploded at Dogagun over Pentagon police threat. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth angrily shouted at a representative from Elon Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency in a tense Pentagon confrontation. According to a report during the showdown in early April, the defense secretary reportedly yelled at the Defense Department's former DOGE team lead after the staffer was accused of calling the Pentagon police on one of his subordinates to have him removed from the building. The tongue lashing took place after the subordinate, a DOGE lieutenant named Justin Fulcher, stormed into Hegseth's office and complained that his boss, Yin and Weiss, had reported to him to Pentagon Force Protection Agency. The Washington Post reported Hegseth then confronted Weiss and, raising his voice at times, demanded to know why Weiss thought he possessed the authority to call the PFPA, the Pentagon's internal police and security force. Sources told the Post. It's not clear what the original fight was about or whether law enforcement was ever called, but he thought that even just the possibility that a DOGE official would act unilaterally to evict someone from the Pentagon was unacceptable. The Post reported sources told the paper that Weiss tried to explain to Hegseth that he had complained about Fulcher to the Pentagon office that assists new political appointees, not the Pentagon police. Despite publicly supporting DOGE's efforts behind the scenes, Hegseth opposed Musk's attempts to cut civilian working in military hospitals, shipyards, and munition factories and schools. The New York Times reported their fight reportedly plunged the already beleaguered Pentagon even deeper into chaos. The Daily Beast report reveals Pete Hegseth's Pentagon meltdown happened months ago, but the chaos still hasn't stopped. It also hints at tension between Trump and Elon Musk. If Hegseth faced heat for nearly leaking China war plans, what does that mean for their relationship now? Hegseth's repeated blow-ups show a pattern of dysfunction in one of the most critical agencies, and he's not the only one under fire. Pam Bondi's scandal continues to hurt Trump, with strong pushback from Democrats like Eric Swalwell and Congressman Robert Garcia. This clip is right here.
I rise today to demand that Donald Trump and our Attorney General come clean to the American people and release the Epstein files. Now, this weekend, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "Let's not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about." Well, Mr. President, a lot of people actually care. And we know that MAGA was all in on Jeffrey Epstein. Now, my Republican colleagues have sent letters, they've posted, they've demanded disclosure. Donald Trump Jr., the president's own son, has tweeted dozens of times about this case. FBI Director Kash Patel swore under oath in front of the Senate that he would be transparent with the American public and release the Epstein files. He said, and I want to quote, "Make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened," that he would do that. That was his quote. Now, in February, our Attorney General Pam Bondi told Fox News that Epstein's client list was, again, and I quote, "sitting on my desk right now to review," end quote. Now, they claim there was never a list. And this weekend, Donald Trump claimed that the files were written by Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the Biden administration. These are bizarre reversals. And it's obvious to the American public. Someone is lying, and someone is trying to hide something. So let's look at the facts. We know Elon Musk said publicly on June 5th that Donald Trump is mentioned in the Epstein files. We know that Epstein died in a federal prison overseen by Donald Trump's Department of Justice. We know that Jeffrey Epstein in 2008 was given a generous non-prosecution agreement for sex trafficking charges. Now, that agreement let him continue his criminal activities, and that agreement was offered by Alexandra Acosta, who was Donald Trump's chosen Secretary of Labor. That's not all. We know that Donald Trump and Epstein had a long-standing personal relationship. Epstein told one writer, and I quote, "I was Donald Trump's closest friend for 10 years," end quote. Donald Trump told New York Magazine in 2002, and I want to quote this. Quote, this is Donald Trump. "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do. And many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life," unquote. That's disgusting, wrong, and we must inquire more information. The truth is we don't know what the facts are in this case.
On the conservative side, the folks who have been following this closely and calling for this for 10 years, they, number one, do not believe any report that says that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. And they want to see what no one has seen, as far as I know, this supposed client list. Why, from your perspective, from Democrats' perspective, is it important for this information to get out there?
The trust in government is at an all-time low. As somebody who has been in elected office and was a prosecutor before, I want my constituents and the American people to trust me and my Democratic colleagues. And so if they're asking for more transparency on a case that involves the President of the United States, whether he's in the files or not, Elon Musk says he is, or the President of the United States having the Department of Justice bury these files and not disclose them, the American people want transparency from their leaders. And so this is about transparency and letting the facts lie where they will, but at least letting the American people see them.
I'm genuinely out of time, Congressman, so I'll ask you to be brief.
Nice to see you again.
If you were a betting man, what do you think the chances are all of this gets released?
It's not going to be released by Donald Trump. He today said his own supporters, he doesn't need them anymore if they want the files released. A man who says that does not seem very eager, to give in to transparency and looks more like he wants to protect himself.
Congressman Eric Swalwell, thank you.
Democrats have to continue to hammer home this message. We have to be talking about the Epstein file. We have to be talking about the incompetence, the lies, and the betrayal from this administration. We are certainly going to be on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop the blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.